Hi everybody and welcome to my new camera comparison. Today it will be a little bit different. I usually just compare flagship phones to each other, but today I have the POCO F6 Pro and I will compare to the iPhone 15 Pro Max. You might think this might be an unfair comparison, especially since the iPhone is nearly 3 times as expensive. But let's find out if this will also reflect in the quality of the photos and videos taken with both phones. Little spoiler, I was actually quite surprised by the quality of the POCO F6 Pro. But without any further ado, let's find it out together. I'm recording with the front-facing cameras right now, 4K and 30 frames per second on the iPhone, and the POCO F6 Pro just allows to record in 1080p, also with 30 frames per second. You can see already that the iPhone is clearly handling the background better. The dynamic range is better here. The POCO has trouble keep the picture balanced. Colors are also overall a bit too cold for my taste on the POCO F6 Pro. Now I'm recording with the main lenses both in 4K with 30 frames per second. Video recording is obviously one of the strong suits of the iPhone 15 Pro Max. See how the POCO F6 Pro compares. Just at first glance, the screen does make a good impression, but we'll have to check it out later properly. Both phones that you also shoot with 60 frames per second with a front-facing camera, just 1080p on the POCO F6 Pro, but on the iPhone obviously you can shoot with 4K. And yeah, it's the same thing. Colors are obviously the same. You shoot with 30 or 60 frames per second. Just about a smoother frame rate here. But the POCO generally struggles a bit with the sunlight and darkening or over highlighting the background depending on the lighting situation. So now I activated the steady video on the POCO F6 Pro and the action mode on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. You can see already that the POCO F6 Pro is way more zoomed in. The crop is bigger to keep steadier video here. The POCO F6 Pro allows recording just in 1080p with 30 frames per second. There are no other options, while the iPhone 15 Pro Max lets us record in up to 2.8K and gives us different frame rate options, just like 60, 30 or 24 frames per second. And even we could zoom in further if we would like to, but it defaults at with the ultra wide. So now let's get a little bit of a jog in here. Let's start with some selfies taken with the front-facing cameras. The camera angle is first of all wider on the POCO here, and the quality is actually really good. My face looks more detailed and the colors are more on point in my eyes. So now some portraits with the main lens, and at first glance there really isn't much that differentiates the two. The cutouts are pretty good, but the iPhone is doing the finer job at some spots. Here we also can see again that the iPhone works finer when it comes to details and my hairs. But on the sunglasses, the iPhone is somewhat cutting the one lens. The POCO is better here. This was generally a rather tough scene with a lot of direct sunlight, and the POCO is doing a really good job in my eyes, even though there is some overexposing happening. Now some pictures where we will incorporate the zoom as well. While the iPhone has a 5x telelens, the POCO F6 Pro doesn't have a telelens at all. Not a big surprise at this price point though. It does have an ultra-wide lens, and that's where we start. The pictures taken with the POCO are in general more contrasty and vibrant than the ones taken with the iPhone. The 2x digital zoom is actually holding up quite well, though you can already see that it lacks some details, for example here on the side. Against the 5x telelens, it naturally doesn't have a chance. Something I really like is that the POCO is staying quite consistent in its colors while switching between the ultra-wide and main lens. Something heavy hitters like the Honor Magic 6 Pro had issues with in my previous tests. Using the 2x zoom is definitely always an acceptable option. Further zooming will of course result in more blurry pictures. These shots here aren't separated by much on the ultra-wide and main lens. Just while zooming we get the obvious winner. The POCO is taking the more pleasing pictures probably. The colors just pop more most of the time, but keep in mind it's not that true to reality. Picture taken with the POCO more here too, even though the colors are less accurate unfortunately. The POCO has the colors boosted all the time, and if you just need to have some pretty shots for social media, it's definitely not bad either. So now I'm recording at night in 4K and 30 frames per second on the iPhone 15 Pro Max and 1080p with 30 frames per second on the POCO F6 Pro. It is now not very dark outside, but it is close to 11 p.m. I don't know, the summertime is getting really late dark here in Germany. So move around with the camera. What I can see on the screen, both are actually doing quite a good job here. The POCO F6 Pro is holding up very well in my eyes. It's looking even brighter. The POCO F6 Pro does have a video night mode, so I activate it now. My experience with the video night modes is that they are always adding a lot of disturbing effects. Yeah, it is raining again, but anyway, let's just see what we get here with this video mode. It does look quite well on the previous screen, on the live preview here. My experience, if you move a little bit more, then the phone is struggling a lot. now for the night. Low light is where most cheaper phones struggle to keep up. The ultra-wide shot on the POCO shows already weakness in different areas. The picture is just not detailed enough. The main lens is doing a way better job with a 2x magnification. For this church here, the picture on the POCO looks more appealing in my book. Taking the shot with a main lens, the POCO is brighter and surprisingly even more detailed. At 5x, the iPhone is then again superior. Here the POCO is way brighter with the ultra-wide than the iPhone. With the main lens, both phones are closer to each other. The 2x shot has more details on the iPhone again. Here the ultra-wide is struggling with the light, creating a light wheel. With the main lens, it's again very close in general. Just in the details, the iPhone is doing again a much better job. The ultra-wide is quite often struggling, which results in blurrier pictures, but the main is most of the time doing a really good job. But the main lens is most of the time doing a really good job. Using the portrait mode at night, and both are really not great. Both seem to be going into the direction of an oil painting. The POCO even worse than the iPhone. For the selfies, it's mostly the same, but the F6 Pro is doing an overall better job than the 15 Pro Max. And that's it for my camera comparison between the POCO F6 Pro and the iPhone 15 Pro Max. I think the POCO F6 Pro is doing a really good job, especially considering it is just 1/3 of the price. I paid 420 euros for the phone, a watch and the fitness tracker, but the usual price is just 500 euros just for the phone. The iPhone 15 Pro Max starts at 1500 here, so it is more or less 3 times the price. Of course, meanwhile you can get it cheaper every there now, but they're just the official prices here. I think the iPhone's camera is not 3 times better, but it also depends on what really you need from your camera. The video quality is of course superior. But if you just care about taking good looking pictures with your main lens, then the POCO is a really cheap and good option. Even at night, the POCO F6 Pro didn't have to hide itself behind the iPhone. It took some really good pictures if you don't need the zoom, because it doesn't have a telelens and all pictures further than 2x digital don't look really good with it. But for your daily snaps and even the ultra-wide snaps are looking good. It is a good option in my eyes. So if you don't want to splash a big money, other parts of the hardware are also quite good. It has a 120 Hz screen. The sound quality is also quite nice. So overall, for this price point, you don't really make anything wrong. What are your thoughts on this phone? Would you consider this kind of phone over a flagship phone? Let me know in the comments, and hopefully soon the phone, which some of you might have voted for in the community, will arrive here, and I will put it to the test. If you like this video, leave a thumbs up, a sub would be great, and we will see us in the next one.